in fractional fraction. I call it fractionalizing. So, and initially, I originally years ago I played with Mark Wood. I don't know if any of you know him. He's an electric violinist. I played his first records, and also he gave me carte blanche to use all the music that I played with on him. Played on his. I played on a lot of his music, not only his records, but also he was doing a lot of production music, so a lot of sports music and TV stuff. So he gave me carte blanche to use all the stuff that I played on. So I'm using all that stuff for my intros of my videos and that sort of thing. So it's been a fun experience. But back to the book. This was the book I needed when I was a young kid, wondering what all that stuff was, what Yes was doing, what King Crimson, later on down the road, Tool and bands like that, System of a Down, all these more contemporary bands. I guess that's all like 90s stuff. But anyhow, Soundgarden, even bands like that, that used odd time signatures. So it's always been sort of an interest of mine, and so there you have it. That's a sort of a brief introduction. Any questions?
That's a
Absolutely
shitty
welcome
background, man.
questions. Well,
I'm only
I also
kidding.
wait. Yeah, and I had a local club band for years up in this Westchester area. We were big local draw. It was like a funk fusion, a funk reggae kind of jam band type of thing. We were big for a long time. But anyhow, that's kind of Mark was my was those are my two favorite records I ever played on.
Well, that's a good background, man. Really nice and strong. The kind of groups that you mentioned, I really don't hang out with them. I listen to them, but I don't really hang out with them because I don't. It's not because I don't understand. I don't kind of like that.
Yeah, I get
I,
it. I
I'm I'm
get it.
into like Elvin Jones and Max Roach and all those guys,
Elvin's the
and they
best.
they don't know what the hell they were playing. They just played the music. But anyway, what I really respect about the book, and I really like it, is
Thank you.
that you're presenting different time signatures and some possibilities inside of the time signatures. Whatever, for example, whatever Vishnu like John McLaughlin with Billy Cobham did. I mean, you put a couple measures out there, but he don't even know what the hell he did. He just did it. And really,
Because nobody was doing that sort of stuff when they
absolutely.
started doing it. Yeah, and McLaughlin came with all these Eastern Indian concepts and modal playing and all that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they were groundbreaking.
Yeah, of course they were, and I loved it
Yeah,
back then. But when you got into too much of Yes and Yes did a lot of nice things, but you listen to Yes one time and you buy another album, it sounds like it was a continuation of the first album.
yeah, yeah.
No, but that's all right. Anyway, does anybody here understand what 3/4 is, or don't understand?
One less than four. So, one of the things I tell my younger students, which they don't always do, is try to count out loud. Because if you count out loud, it your brain perceives it in a different way, and they say, "I'm counting in my head." I'm like, "That's cool." Count in your head, but then also count out loud. There's, through my experience of teaching for the last number of years, I think when people say things, they count out loud. They hear it. They learn it in a different way. So you can play three. You can play 3/4 like this. You could sing it while you're doing it. Boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, bop. That's another way to understand it. Or you can count it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or you can count one and two and three and one and two and three. Or you could just hum it. I have a friend of mine, keyboard player. So I was like, and he works in the Mahavishnu project. He does a lot of fusion. So I was like, Neil, how do you, how do you count those things? He's like, I don't count. I just feel it. I'm like, oh, fuck you, man. How do you
Uh-oh.
count it?
Oh, listen, you guys
You
got to
have to
put.
count it to learn it. I mean, maybe if you count it a couple of times, you can feel it. But anyhow, he's funny because he always comes up with some answer
Oh,
that.
you guys got to put your masks on. I'm sorry. No,
Well, I
you're
would say
absolutely correct. And I definitely tell everybody whatever they do to count out loud because that eventually leads to singing.
exactly. It also leads to the independence of your voice from what you're doing. So can you talk while you're playing? And that the counting is the beginning of that. And
Yeah.
I also found that also gives you that independence. You think about somebody like Sting, playing all those those bass lines that have nothing to do with the vocals that he's singing, and he does it. And he does it perfectly. I mean,
He's
so
conditioned himself.
yeah, it's amazing.
That's what counting does. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's why he hated Stuart Copeland, because Stuart would rush the groove so much, and he's up there trying to play and sing, and the drummer's rushing it, and they hated each other because of that.
Hmm.
But it created a great energy. They were a great band.
I'm sure we've all had music teachers who say, if you can't sing it, you can't play it.
I say if you can say it, you can play it. So yeah, I agree. You have to be able to, have some sort of solfege. Some sort of you got to be able to, articulate it in some way. Counting or singing or something. Just
Mhm.
shows that you understand it in a way other than this. So if you're doing so that's it. You want to play in 3/4. It's so funny because my buddy once said, he said, "Can you play in 3/4?" And it's like I play dance classes. I play a lot of modern dance classes. All they do is in 3/4. And I was like, yeah, do a lot of 3/4. So if you're just thinking 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's kind of what you do. The format for this the 3/4 section. So in the book, you have the head, the beat that's always at the top of each section. That's what I call a template beat or a model beat. That's sort of that's the skeleton of what the beats in the section will be based off of most of the time. Sometimes not. So there you have it. Everybody looking at that first page, the 3/4. If you have any questions, please ask right away. So that top beat is the template beat. It's the model beat that everything is based off of in the whole section. So you start with that first one with just a quarter note on the one. And then number 1 just gives 2/8 notes. So you'll notice it doesn't really. That hand pattern stays there for the first couple. So like number 2. Let me ask you guys a question. If I really play into it, does the sound get distorted? Sounds okay?
Yeah, just a little maybe.
Okay, I'll keep it.
Whoa. What do you mean distorted? What is little? What are you hearing?
Should I do that again? It's okay?
Yeah.
All right,
That's
good.
great.
Good.
But now, here's what I want to ask. I mean, that's perfect, man. It sounds really nice.
Oh, thank you.
But see, there's drummers, and when you're doing a group class or a clinic or whatever you want to call this, they're all at different levels. How would you, if you were not a beginner, but somebody who wants to understand the 3/4, and you say count out loud, how would you approach it? Give them advice to approach this. Number 2.
Number 2, meaning the second one, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so before you even got necessarily to this book, you would have hopefully. I mean, so this book could be good for a beginner a relative beginner in that all the first beats of each section, not except maybe like 17, 16, but all the first beats of each section are super simple. So if you have somebody, who can do a couple of basic beats, stuff like that, they could learn a 3/4 beat. They could learn a 5/4 beat. They could learn a 7/4 beat. You don't have to be a technician to play these things. So, what was your question, Matt? How would I teach
How would you
number 2?
advise them to approach it? Like they kind of know it, but they don't.
Well, okay,
And
so
they want, wait, and they want to count it out loud. Okay, so if they're going to count out loud, they're not going to count 1 and 2 and 3, and to make the spacing correct. I mean, feeling good, mechanically speaking, mathematically speaking, space wise, wouldn't it be 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a,
right,
until they fit everything in there.
right.
That's my. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, well, if you'll notice at the top, you have 3 levels of counts. You have the top one, 1, 2, 3. You have the second one, 1 and 2 and 3, and then the third one, 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. So those are just suggestions of how you can count it.
Right.
Something like 2. So one of the things that I ask my students to do, I mean, like the Gary Chester method. He has you're supposed to count. You can count either, as I recall, you count the quarter note. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're reading those bass drum figures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, all that kind of crazy stuff. Something like this. This beat number 2 is this. So what I might suggest to somebody to count like a composite of what the rhythm is. Instead of going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E, I might say count a composite of the bass and snare part, and maybe a little hi-hat. 1 and a 2 and 3. 1 and a 2 and 3. Sometimes thinking of what the composite rhythm is. What if you just took each note across the page? The composite rhythm of what that is 1 and a 2 and 3 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and. Does that make sense when I say composite rhythm to you guys? It's like what all the notes in a row, so like the composite rhythm of number 1 is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? Something like if you looked at number 5, the composite rhythm would be 1 and a 2 and 3 en, 1 and a 2 and 3 en. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
Line
So-
5. Do line. I'm looking at line 6. I'm sorry.
Okay, so line.
I'm old. Forgive me. Hey,
That's
wait a
okay.
second. Hold on, Dave. Hey, John.
John
How are you?
Berger.
You're in the wrong.
Dave.
You're in the wrong room, man. This is not for beginners.
What's an E?
How the hell are you, man?
Good to see you. It took me a while to find the secret code to get into this
There's no
special
secret
club.
code. You just didn't know how to use it.
Hey, can I do a plug for my friend John here?
Go ahead.
You guys, if anybody, when it comes around, if it does come around, the Roy Orbison and Buddy Holly holographic concert, you absolutely must see it. It is so cool, and you would not. It's so real. It blew my mind. It blew my mind how real it was, and John does an amazing job. It's just a really interesting experience, and it really stuck. He's not. He is He's probably my best friend in the world, but even if it wasn't my best friend in the world, I would be like raving about this thing. It was really.
That's
cool.
what you said about me in the beginning. Anyway, John, you are my favorite drummer. You realize that. We had a conversation somewhat about you. I gave him my opinion about you, and you won't like it if I say it, but that's okay. I'm sorry to interfere, Dave.
That's
I
okay.
just go off like the 4th of July.
I welcome it actually. 'Cause then,
Okay, go ahead, man.
then
I'm
I have to-
sorry.
then I don't have to be as coherent. All right, so the composite rhythm, a composite rhythm is just what are all the notes doing? So if like the composite rhythm for like a paradiddle beat is 1 E and a 2 E and because you're playing all those notes, right? Something like 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4. That's accounting for all the notes that are articulated in the bar, composite rhythm. So some of these beats in this book are really hard to count. I mean, I could play them, and then I sit down to count them. It's like, okay, some of them are really hard. So, like, if you look at 7, the composite rhythm to that is 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how are you playing 3/4? You count to 3. You try to set some sort of what's the groove going to be based on, the template beat, maybe that kind of idea, and then you just count it and play in 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and unless you're playing in John McLaughlin's current band where the drummer doesn't play downbeats and everything's in like 13 and 11, you hit that downbeat nice and hard. Because when you're playing odd time signatures, the other musicians need you to define where it is. That was the beauty of Billy Cobham. That downbeat was really strong every time. If you ever see the Mahavishnu Project, which is a tribute band to the Greg Bendy and another great drummer, amazing drummer, he fills every fourth bar. There's a fill with a downbeat. So it's really, you know, it's important to define whatever that time signature is for the band. So in most cases, you're playing that one nice and steady. And that was what Billy Cobham said the one time I talked to him. Said, Billy, how you playing all those time signatures? He's like, just related to 4/4. It's one beat more than 4/4. It's 1/16th note less than 4/4. Go from that. And that's the basis for this book. It's like, what's the closest to a 4/4, 5/4, 3/4 feeling that you can get in that time signature.
What's the closest to the quarter note?
Well, yeah. And also we have conventions in terms of how we hear stuff. I mean, we're used to the snare being on 2 and 4. We feel things in 4 naturally. So if it's a little more than 4, play in 4 and then add whatever extra you need to make it into 19, 16th notes or whatever it's going to be. So that's the 3/4 thing. The great thing about 3/4 is that you can hear it in so many different ways. There's one thing that I should have given you, Matt. There's one beat. Where is it? Yeah, it's on the other page. But like this beat, 1 and a 2. One and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 and a 2. You can hear that two ways, right? One, a 2, and a 3 triplet 4. You can feel it. You can feel it as a triplet 4 groove. Anyhow, that's probably confusing you guys, but that's beat 17. If you get the book, beat 17 in 3/4 is. So some in 3/4, like on this page, number 5. You see beat number 5.
Were you on the 3/4 page again?
Yeah,
Still?
yeah. The first. I flipped over to something that's not on the page, so I apologize for that.
That's not a problem.
But number 5. You see number 5, guys. So that bass drum is a 4 against 3, right? If you take away the snare drum, or 4 against 6, however you want to think of it. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. That's that bass drum part. So what makes it feel like a 3/4 is that snare. 1, a 2 and 3 E and a 1 and a 2 and E and a 1 and a 2 and 3 E and a. You could
Can
take
I
that.
intervene here,
Yeah, of course.
if you don't mind? I mean, I
No.
hear your gig, and it's all comes to subdivision. It's all related to the quarter note.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
Right, John? You were strangling me one time as telling me that.
It's
Yeah,
all
well,
about the quarter
I have-
note.
I have a student right now who's working on a Metallica song, and it has bars of 13/8 in it, and he's getting tangled up. That's exactly what Dave's saying. It's like, where is 1? Just jump to 1. It's always
Let's
about where
say-
1 is.
Okay. All right. In 3/4, I can relate to 3/4 as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But I also can relate to that 1, 2, 3 as a triplet. 1,
Trip. Yep.
1, 2, 3. And I'm thinking of the triplet as 1, 2, 3. Now I want to play 4 in it. 1, 2. That's what you just did. That's the 3 against 4. But now, if I get into the 4, I'm in another time signature as well.
Right. Well, and
So-
also, yeah.
Yeah, and they're all related. And the guy who made me more aware of that is Alan Herman. You know who Alan Herman is, right?
I do not. Tell me.
No, you should. I mean, Alan Herman's very brilliant. He really is. And I'd be going crazy with this stuff, 3/4, 5/4, 9/8, and they're all the same. They're all the same.
Alan has a large presence on YouTube.
Who?
Alan,
That's Chick Webb.
well, that's his username. Yeah,
Well, we should have more drummers out there on YouTube like him,
Yeah. I'll have to
because
check
he
him out.
most definitely gives the correct information.
Yeah.
It's not his information, it's the correct information. Him and I, we're like husband and wife. We argue, and he don't talk to me for 3 or 4 months. Then we become friends again, And if you have an argument with Alan Herman, if you start something with him, tell him this is what I think it is, he'll argue with you for about 15 minutes, and at the end of the argument, he's telling you exactly what you said it was. But that's a journey with that guy. He's so knowledgeable. You know, he really is. As far as a drum player on a drum set, he does what he does, and I'm not going to be condescending with him. But if you ask him about 3/4 or 5/4 or 9/8 or 11/16 or whatever, he always refers, and he's helped me out a tremendous, taking the master studies, Joe Morello, the table of time, or even what was it what do they call it? I forgot. Jesus, come on, Matt, get with the program.
What about syncopation?
With the when he's doing the eighth notes, I don't know, but he taught. This is what really turned me on. If I'm playing, for example, it's a hand development exercise. I'm playing eighth notes. Listen to my feet. I'm alternating my feet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now I'm going to go to 3/4. 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. See how the feet remain the same,
Right.
but the placement was different. That's what I'm talking about. Being in 4/4, it's always related to the quarter note. In all those 7/16ths, like we talked about, is actually in 4/4. The way I think about it, it's not the only way though, but that's the way I feel very comfortable with. The 3/4, 1 and 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3. I'm not trying to show off. I mean, with one hand because I'm holding the microphone with the other hand. But I just put a tempo down there. And I just love the way you're throwing this out there, David. I really do. It's so informative.
Well, so there's your 3/4, what I call the rock waltz, and also probably the most common odd time signature of all, I guess, because you think about it, a lot of gospel music is in 3/4. 12/8 is pretty common thing that could be considered a sort of a 3/4.
If you subdivided it is, right?
Yeah, so I think that's why I started with that, because that's the most common. And also, interestingly enough, I'm a big Yes fan. I always say sometimes I wear a Yes T-shirt, and then I ask my students, I say, a band that plays a lot of music in 3/4, and I point to my shirt, and they say yes. Yes. See, right? My
Tales,
my cat likes drum lessons.
Tales of Topographic Oceans.
Great stuff. So as a matter of fact, beat number 2 on this sheet is a beat that Alan White uses in the first couple of bars of this in the first side of that record. So anyhow, just passed away a couple of months ago. You guys aware of that?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, he just passed away, which was it was very. I didn't. He didn't do the last tour, that they did. Anyhow, very sad. He wrote me a postcard. I sent him a copy of this book because he's so represented in it, like pretty much in almost every section. And originally, I got a email back from his rep guy, my friend, who's now my friend Paul. He said Alan doesn't really give endorsements for projects he's not involved with. And then like a week later, I got another email. He said, he's decided he'll give you a testimonial. So he wrote me a nice postcard, and he said, now maybe people will stop asking me how to count Sound Chaser. So, anyhow.
Anyway, I'm going to do a testimony on you after this. That's why I waited.
Okay.
You don't want to hear it. Anyway, just kidding. That's nice, man. How about the 5/4?
Can I say, I think a lot of us age-wise, when we think of 3/4 and 5/4 and all of that, we kind of grew up with Brubeck and Morello. So you learned to feel it first, and then when you looked at the written thing, you figured it out.
That's the one. I sometimes on my videos I put prog, rock, fusion, and I put jazz, and I can only put jazz because there is only one real jazz example in the book, and that is Take 5, Joe Morello. So when I say there's jazz in the book, it's like really just that one, but technically that is a jazz example. So I'm not, But I mean, besides Take Five, I'm probably unaware, but not a lot of odd time signature in the swing world. Right?
Well, when Brubeck first came out, well,
Oh,
not
he did
first came out, but when it became popular, was
Yeah,
I think 60, 61, 62.
Blue Rondo, right?
Yeah,
9/8,
Rondo
right?
all of
Allenberg, the subdivision of 4/4 to 9/8 to all that good stuff.
Yeah,
But
he was the one that was doing it the
that
most.
was considered back then. All the college kids with the smoking jacket and the scarf and the pipe. That was considered what the hell, modern music or whatever they considered it. Now they use Take Five in elevators. But the five
Yeah,
four, the 5/4, like I said, everything was related. You had to see him. He be Joe sitting down with Joe in his studio, and he's demonstrating 5/4, the Take Five. I didn't know what time signature he was playing there,
yeah. It's
but he
very
played it.
slippery. Five is slippery because it sounds like three or four.
And I'm sorry to keep interfering. I just got
No,
to
it's
say what I
no.
have to.
I welcome it. I welcome it. Absolutely.
Oh, we got a new guy here. Hold on a second, Dave. Hello.
Hey guys.
Oh, it's
What
Ted.
is your-
Ted.
Hey
This is
David.
Ted Ream. This is an old friend of mine. It used to take lessons with me years ago. His name is Ted. He's a great guy.
You
Here's my
studied-
drum.
You
Here's my
studied
drum.
with
Nice.
you studied with this guy.
Like 30
I
years.
played with David. Yeah.
I used to go to his house on Saturday mornings on like 2 hours of sleep because I was always playing club gigs, and then we'd do like an hour and a half lesson at like 9 in the morning.
That's okay. I'm sorry. We got to stop maybe about 5:15. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So why don't you hit the 5/4 for us?
All right. So you guys got 5/4 there, right? So I always say, what do I say? I say people ask me a math question. I say I'm a drummer. I only count to 4. All right. But that's not really true. So the format of this book is that there's a template beat or one or more than one. When a template, you know what a template means, a repeating whatever, a pattern that's repeated. So and all the beats in each section are based sometimes they're variations, but they're based on these patterns. So in the first, if you're looking at that 5/4, it says at the top for 5/4 you can count quarter notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can count eighth notes 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 or 16ths. There's 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 5E and a 1E and a 2E, 3E and a 4E. Whereas we used to do in music school together, we just count ba, do, di, do, die. Ba, do, di, do, die. So you can, whatever way that.
It sounds like you were constipated.
Well, yeah. Once went to I don't know, John, if you were with it, if this was after you graduated, but saw Joe
Bergamini.
Johnny Bergamo.
Bergamo.
John Bergamo.
Yeah.
I get Joe Bergamini, John Bergamo, John Berger. I mean all these JBs. John Bonham also.
I was there, Dave.
Joe Bonadio.
I
all
was
these
I
You
was
were
I was
there.
there with you that day. I remember.
So he gave us the Indian solfege. So we go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. Indian solfege has syllables up to 8. Ta, taki, takita, takitena, takitenaga, takitenagana, takitenagainata.
What do they call that language?
John, what do they
call that?
It's just the Indian solfege.
Yeah, solfege.
Dave,
Yeah.
isn't it conical, Dave?
I'm not sure what the actual
believe
name
it's-
of it is.
It's called conical, but kids sometimes for kids classes they just use syllables too. I mean, it's the way I think. I don't know about Indian music, but to me, if you use a syllable to get a rhythm going, why not?
Well, and you know what's interesting? If you work in like theater, like I have friends who work in theater, and they'll write songs that are not in necessarily in time signatures, but they have time, points in there where they do something like that. But since it's related to the vocals, it's really easy for everybody to learn it because it's based on the words. So it's not like they're sitting there counting it. They just, whatever. They just, the words give them the rhythm. So
Steve Smith does a lot of that. The
What is that,
conicals.
Paul?
Steve Smith does a lot of that with the conicals.
Yeah, with the syllabic
Yeah.
rhythmic
Have
sound.
you ever
took-
seen have you ever seen Steve Smith in the clinic or in person?
Yeah, I took a clinic with him, and that's mostly what he talked about.
My God, that guy's a monster.
he's
Yeah.
Great, super intelligent and really articulate and really
and peaceful.
yeah.
Or he has a facade of being peaceful, whether he's angry or not. But he's just a great drummer. That's all. He's
Yeah.
like John Berger.
Indeed. So 5/4. So that first template is a 2 plus 3, right? If you're going to subdivide it, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. But I would never count 5/4 in a 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 2. These are suggestions. I would never count it because I would be like playing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. It would just mess my brain up. Too many ones. There's only one 1 in a bar. There's only one 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't subdivide, count things like that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Although I do it in a couple places, but I think when it's in 5, it's in 7, it's in 9, it's in 11, up to a point. After 11, you can't really count up. You can't really syllabically count to 13, in a practical way. But I think you should think in whatever the time signature is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know how if you ever do 6/8 stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. People, you can count 6/8. You can count it like a triplet. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I always tell my students to count it in 6.
It's like a triplet, Dave.
I'm sorry.
6. It's almost like a triplet.
Well, yeah,
Six?
6/8 is like 2 triplets. So
Like
if you
2
count-
triplets, right?
Right. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I like to count it. So the
Okay.
yeah. So that second. So the first one is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Counted as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the bottom one of those 2 templates is just 3, 2. 3 plus 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So.
Or 2 measures of 5/8.
Well, yeah, well, and I think I have something like that in there somewhere with the.
You could
bass
blame
drum.
John Berger on that one.
Do I have that in there? Is that on that page? I don't know.
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I don't want to get abstract, but I just needed it to know from you. That's all.
Needed to know what?
They're the 5/8 and 5/8, the subdivision. 2 5/8 equal 1 5/4.
Exactly.
Or 2 5/8 equal 10/8, which
Right.
is equal to 1 5/4.
Now I feel like I'm in 11th grade math class again.
Oh my God.
Now do you see what we have to put up with, man?
What's wrong with me?
Hey, he
I
does
could
it with,
leave. It's not a problem.
He does it with love. You can see that. You can feel.
No, I don't. I'm a ball buster. I'm the mean guy. Don't blow my image, man.
It's funny. It's like back when we were kids taking lessons, you came in and you didn't practice. The teacher would take the book and say, "Hey, here you go. That's good for today. That's good. Okay, that's good. Go home, practice it. I'll see you next week." And your half an hour lesson was 7 minutes long. It's like, okay,
So Dave? What kind of cameras you guys use? I'm just using an iPhone. What kind of cameras you guys use?
I have right now GoPros. I set up GoPros. I have my regular high here I am cam, and then I have.
So how are GoPros connected to the computer? How do you connect to the computer?
This is through a video switcher. The GoPros are
sweet.
going through a video switcher that goes into the computer, and then I can switch between all those things. As
Okay.
needed, and good for lessons. And of course, the lighting design is courtesy of Home Depot, of course.
Okay.
Well,
So you have-
you see everybody's studios, and I'm like, I'm gonna make it more fun. I'm gonna use some colored lights.
This is my little studio.
Hey, is that in 5/4?
I don't know, but
Let's get back to that.
So all right. So the template beats at the top of the page. Those are your skeletons. That's what you base it off of. So if you want to get comfortable playing in 5/4, start by doing something like that. This is, of course, obviously in a rock setting. Straight eighth note kind of vibe. That's another thing in the book that I did, and even in the funk book that I wrote as well. I don't do a lot. The hi-hats are pretty much eighth notes. Sometimes there's some open hi-hats. There's some broken patterns. Sometimes there's a 16th note or two, but it's pretty basic in the hi-hat, and that simplifies the whole process for people to learn, so that, you don't always play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in the eighth notes, but that's sort of the format for the book. I think it makes it easier for people to learn. And if someone, like, if I have a student who's gone through, the drummer's cookbook, you guys know, I don't know if you know, rock and bass drum. I usually I have a beat book that I wrote myself that I just self-publish, and then they do rock and bass drum. Then they do the drummer's cookbook. Anybody else familiar with this one? You guys know drummer's cookbook?
I never.
Really?
Well, you got the drummer's
Does it
cookbook.
have
from?
what you call instructions for marinara sauce?
What's this now? I missed that.
Just kidding. Don't worry. Listen, I have a question here. On 5/4, the first line,
Right.
for everybody's benefit. When I wrote this out on the last eighth note, I put a 0 as an open hi-hat.
Nice.
Can you do that over and over again for us, please? The first measure. It's
First
very
one.
simple.
That's great because it gives an indication where the 1 is, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right?
Right. Does everybody understand that?
What was that again?
Does everybody understand that?
The circle over the last note brings you back to 1.
Exactly. That open hi-hat, pea soup they call it, right? Right? And that's sort of a carte blanche thing. When students of mine work out of the funk book, I tell them anytime there's a hi-hat on the end of 4 that doesn't have a 0 over it, you can open it up. And that bass players love that. Everybody loves it when the drummer shows you where that 1 is, and they don't have to really think about it.
So you open your hi-hat on 1, basically. That's what you said.
On the end count before the 1. So if you were doing that first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. You could do. I suppose you're doing the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
M1's better.
And well, it gives everybody the here it comes. Bass
Okay.
players love that. There's a lot of grooves in this book that if you play with them with bass players, you will make an instantaneous enemy of them.
I would throw them out.
They would hate you.
I don't want to throw. My opinion, I don't want to throw where 1 is at to nobody. They all should know where the hell it's at.
Well, they should absolutely.
And if they don't, get another bass player.
Well, yeah, there you go. And they should be open to this stuff. So something, guys, you see beat number 5.
How do you see these beats?
Well, beat number 5 is what I call a trick beat. You can see her here in two ways. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and a 5 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that's hard to do, man. My brain.
No, it is.
1.
But
But so now to learn something like that, so I teach. So I have some high school freshmen that they've gone through some of these other books that I should throw them this stuff. And after doing a book like the cookbook or the funk book, they can figure it out. But they figure it out by looking at each beat separate. 1 end, 2 E end, 2 E end, 3 end, 4 and a 5, and then they're able to put it together. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and a 5 and you're still thinking in 5, a 5 and 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 and a 5 and 1 and 2 E and 4 and a 5 and so. But to the listener, if you're just listening to that. And to your point, Matt, you can think of that as 2 bars of 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, does that make sense, Matt?
Of course.
Yeah.
that's the easy way to count it. That's the last way.
Yeah. Well, so there you go. I mean, you could count that. That could be 2 bars of 5/8 or 1 bar of 5/4. So.
Or 1 bar 10/8.
Yeah. It's. I call it fractional. Well. Something I call fractionalization is something that you do later in the book when you get up into like 13s and 15s and 17s.
I call it insanity.
So that's there are trick beats in the book. They sound like something different. Like if you look at number 8, you guys see number 8. Number 8 is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 1 and a 2 and 3 E and 4 E and a 5 and 1 and a 2 and 3 E and 4 and a 5 and 1 I don't know. That doesn't sound like 5 to me, but it is, you know. So so that's 5-4. Any
That
questions?
sounds like that sounds like reggae right there.
Well, it sounds like, yeah, like if Bob Marley like took crystal meth maybe or something like that, right? Hey, we have John and Seth and me, the Bald Brigade, right?
Who loves you, babe?
I'm getting bald too.
Hey, yeah, there you go, Ted.
That's why I don't use my overhead. You can see my bald spot on the top.
We're all going bald.
Yeah, well, we're all old and we all love the drumming.
Yes,
We all
do.
in love with music.
So
Yeah, odd time signatures make your hair fall out.
yeah, they do, obviously.
Well, they make you argue with your wife.
Right. So 5-4, just count 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Some of the examples in that one, yeah, there's a few cool examples. That's a pretty common one. That's a pretty, you know, when you look in the literature, if you will, you know, there's a lot of 5-4. Should we go to 7-4?
Sure.
7-4. So again, all these introduction beats, they have a couple of layers of potential counting. You could count the top line 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, sorry, that was terrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 5 E and a 6 E and a 7 E and a. That's a little verbose for that. I was just thinking in
I
quarter notes.
subdivide that count though, for only because I have COPD.
Right.
I count sometimes if it's 7-4 one measure of 4-4 one measure of 3-4,
Right.
or two measures of 3-4 one measure of 1-4.
Right.
It depends.
Many ways. There's many ways you can count it.
And that's what I fell in love with this book because of all the ways to subdivide it.
Exactly.
Well, it's hard to count 7 too because it's the first number with 2 syllables. So to say sev, yeah,
Sev,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
Just like
Yeah.
you, Seth. I don't
Yeah.
count. I count 1, 2,
Seth,
3, 4, 5, 6, Seth. 1, 2.
There you go.
Hey,
Well, and that will work up to 9 and maybe even 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 11 is la. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2. Once you get to 13, you're screwed. You got then you fractionalize. I call fraction. You minus 1, divide by 2. So like 13, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, you do 6.5. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 13.
that's confusing that way.
Well, that, I mean, what's the 13/8? Do you ever see the video of the guy talking about how to play
You
in 13/8?
you subdivide it again. If it's 13/8, is that what we're talking about?
Right. Well, I'm just as an example. There's a number of ways you could do that, right? How would you?
And
do it?
8 and 3/8,
You could do it like that.
or 5/8, and in what 7/8? Yeah, that's
8/8.
13.
8 and 5 is 13. See, I'm back in
I think.
11th grade math class.
All this
Would-
mathematics, it drives me crazy.
Would you ever recommend repeating the 6 if you're in 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 1, 2, 3?
You could. Portnoy talks about something to that effect, like in 9/8, he would think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 1. I don't like that. I mean, just listen.
Okay.
Listen. However you can play it, however your mind thinks about it.
Some things may be comfortable along with the feel when you're in those things.
Right, listen, it just ultimately, it just matters that you all are on the same page musically. You know, where's the one? You all know where it is. So if you think, you know, if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 1, 2, 3, is that right? 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4, 5,
that's what
6,
I
6,
meant.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's hard for me to do because I'm feeling the 7. But if that works, then it works. You know, that's you know, it's all about what the end result is. so my original inspiration for this stuff was kind of the Mahavishnu Orchestra, and what was cool about them, and this is very different from like Dream Theater or Yes or what King Crimson, any of these places, is that these tunes were generally in whatever this weird time signature they might be in, and there was a head, and then they jammed in that time signature. So I guess ultimately the idea for this book is to get you comfortable with that time signature, so you could just sit down and jam with somebody in 13/8 if you know anybody who's silly enough to do that. But it's the idea is that you get comfortable playing 7 beats in 7, and you can just play in 7. There's no mystery to it. You've done just the same way as a funk book or the drummer's cookbook or the Gary Chester method. It's supposed to get you the facility so that when you play with people, you can just do it. So that's sort of the goal of this book is, give you enough information in all these time signatures so that you can just go out and somebody says, let's jam in 7. You're like, I got it, I tell this story. Friend of mine, young guy, his name is Adam. He left. He used to work where I work at. I work at the Purchase Dance Conservatory, playing for classes, whatever. He left to seek his stars. He went to L.A. The next time I saw him, and it was literally like 10 years later, he was on SNL, Saturday Night Live, playing for Katy Perry. And guess what beat my buddy Adam was playing?
7/4.
No, beat number 1. I'm just saying. I mean, most music's in 4/4, right? It's most music's in 4/4. So he went all the way to L.A. He, changed his life. He got the biggest gig on the planet, man. Katy Perry. I mean, that's big, man. That's like, that's a gig that if you get that gig, that's your gig. Like my friend's daughter is Shania Twain's drummer. It's like that's what she does. She's Shania Twain's drummer. So, some people make a lot of money going boom, bap, boom, boom, bap, So so I like to make fun of what we're doing because it's this is kind of deeper stuff. It's not
I like to make fun of everybody.
well, and then after you do playing 7/4 and 7/8, well, then you go to play 4/4, and it's like, oh great, and then it's like you're in your comfy place. It just makes that stuff easier and better, and you feel like you have more command, especially for younger players. So that's your 7/4. Should we just maybe bop through some? I mean, if you guys have specific questions about like if any of these beats look like something that might be. So what I just finished editing, for my YouTube channel, a introduction to the 7/4 section of the Odd Time Drumming book. I make these videos and I do these intros, edited music and all this. It's big fanfare and it's like selling car insurance. How many people play in odd time signatures? But you got to make it interesting, right?
Right.
Beat number 11 kind of turns it. Is that the one that turns it around?
Which one are we doing here? What time signature?
We're in 7/4. So you see beat number 11?
I don't have 11. I only have 10.
Same here.
Oh, it didn't go there. All right. Well, all right. So then never mind that. If you look at, let's go to 5/8. Yeah, let's go to 5/8. It's all good. There's some great examples in 7/4. Soundgarden. Soundgarden was a great band. Spoon Man, very cool tune. Which is, any of you guys know Spoon Man at all? Like Soundgarden, is that not like just a complete? And this is not a diss in any way. Rip off of one of that Zeppelin tune. Nobody's Fault But Mine. It's like a different version of Nobody's Fault But Mine. Isn't it kinda?
I don't really hear that, but yeah.
The same kind of, I don't know. It always struck me as that. Okay.
Everybody thinks everybody's ripping everybody off. They have nothing.
I mean, it's a good music.
It's a great tune, man. Great stuff. I asked Joe Bergamini. I said, Matt Chamberlain. Yeah, he's in the book a lot. He said, I want to get his address or send him a copy. It was a Matt Chamberlain or somebody else. And Joe Bergamini's like, it was so funny. He's like, yeah. He's not a drum book kind of guy. I'm like, okay, all right.
Lenny White said the same thing to me.
Who did? I'm sorry?
Lenny White said the same thing to me.
He's not a drum book guy, right?
He plays his ass off, though.
He's amazing, man. He is an amazing, just a great drummer, man.
The, the 7/4 measure that you were looking for on the last page,
Right.
is it the first measure on 7/8, the next page?
No, I think what we
Okay, because I saw the time signature and I
yeah,
thought,
it's the bottom line. It's the bottom line. Of that. All right, so real quick though, before we go to 5/8, there's a beat on the 7/4 page. I don't think you guys have it, but again, it's the trick thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6 and 7 and so that's a boom bop in the bass and snare, but it's in 7. So if I do it faster. So it's got the boom, bop in the bass drum. Bass players hate that. Anyhow, they shouldn't hate it, but they do. So 5/8, probably the least usable of all the time signatures in the book, but 2 templates. So the same way that 5/4 was a 2 plus 3, right? 5/4 we were thinking 1 2 1 2 3, or eighth notes 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 5/8. It's just eighth notes. 1 2 3 4 5 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. You guys see that?
Can you do me a favor on that one?
Sure.
You have a metronome available?
I can set up.
I don't want to take any of your time.
No, it's
with
all,
that.
it's all good. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. Can I Bluetooth it? I might be able to Bluetooth it.
Near the mic, Dave.
So, and it has to work in order for it to. Wait, what do you want me to set up? What?
At 70.
A quarter note at 70.
Yeah.
Getting there. You guys. Oh, by the way, if you guys are not aware, there's a really great metronome app. I am not endorsed by these guys. I don't make any money. It's called Odd Metronome. It's totally programmable, with quarter notes and eighth notes. So I use this when I do my videos. I set up a click. I don't play the click when I mix it and present it, but I use the click to play to, so I keep my timing all.
Oh, the odd metronome, you said?
Yeah, it's just called Odd Metronome. You guys can hear that, right?
Yeah.
That's at 72, 70?
That's 70. That's 70 right there.
That's my quarter note, right?
Yep. So how would you feel that? Would you feel that 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1.
No, that's not what I'm looking for.
What
Hold
are
it.
you looking for?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm just going to play like we did in the beginning, you and I. We're going to play the 5/8 here. 5/8 notes. 1 2. That's the quarter note. 1 2 3 4 5 1 3 4. Bass drum. Now here's my issue, and I asked a good friend of mine to straighten me out, but he was busy. Right, John? I'm only kidding, buddy. You know that. You know I love you. Anyway, making the transition. Say you have actually if you know, you don't really hear this maybe, but occasionally you might. But if I'm reading the chart, 5/8 5/8 4/4 5/8 5/8 4/4. I'm in trouble here
Well,
with the metronome.
right? Yeah.
Two
Well,
measures, two
if you
measures
have
of 5/8, one measure 4/4, making that transition back to 5/8 two times. 2 5/8s, 1 4/4 over and over again.
right.
Can you do that for me?
Well, you could against that.
Yeah, that's 70.
All right. So 2 5/8s 1 4/4.
Yeah.
One hand. I got to do it with one hand because I'm.
Well,
holding
stop
this-
showing off, man. Yeah.
So 2 5/8. So I'm going to do the second one though. I'm going to do 3 and 2. And we're at that tempo, right?
No, I want to hear the quarter note pulse.
So I'm going to go.
I want to hear the bass drum like this, Dave.
Right.
If I put it on 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.
So I'm not sure what you're asking me to do. That.
I'm asking you to do 2 measures of 5/8.
And then one bar of
1.
4/4.
But the bass drum is giving me the quarter note pulse.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2 measures. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That quarter note, eighth note. Like 1 and 2. And I'm doing 1, 2, and 3. Let me do that again. It's hard to do this and talk. You know that.
Very well.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to play 2 measures of 5/8. And I'm going to go in using that pulse as the quarter note. And I'm going to 1 measure of 4/4 back to 5/8 twice. I'm sorry. I might have messed it up on the end. But I'm asking the 5/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. That should have been 1 and 2. And that's what it should have been. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for the 4/4, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's not that stuff is insane.
Yeah,
But once
well,
you get the feel of that, man, does it open up so many damn doors.
Well, and that's where this metronome has been super helpful, because you can work, you can set it up in 7/8 and practice with it. Where in the old days, we just had a click. So if you wanted to practice 7/8 back in the old days, let's do like 120. If you wanted to practice 7/8 in the old days, you had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You had to let that quarter note cycle through the bar like we were talking about before, Matt, because
Right.
the quarter note moves from on the beat to.
Well, I just want to know, in my, for my benefit, in the beginning when you and I were talking alone, whether I was correct or incorrect. And I'm correct because the first time I became aware of that kind of thing was with John Berger. And John Berger made it right. Thank you, John.
John's
And we can get that metronome where?
it's an app on app on the iPhone. It's called Odd Metronome. If you
Okay.
want it's just called Odd Metronome. It's programmable, and it also has. I mean, why am I plugging this? I don't know. It's a great metronome. It also has. It's got like it's got some cool sounds in it. You can't program with the sounds, but it's got some Arabic grooves, right?
I'll Google it after we get off.
Yeah, it's got some cool
It's 5:00.
talk already.
Yeah. I have to be someplace at 5:30. That's about 20 miles away from my house.
Okay, so we got to.
And yeah, we'll kind of close it up. And first off, I would like to really, really send out my thanks to you, Dave.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you,
was it was like it was a gift, man. It really was. And we're going to do this again. But next time, we're going to have a fee.
Well, I'm happy to do it again, and I would love to get more into it because we've just barely.
Yeah, well,
touched
you
on
gave
it.
him an introduction, which is cool. And I'm sure that everybody here would attend it. And maybe, a fee of maybe, $10, $15 for the session. Okay? We'll talk about that. And John Berger, when he gets not so busy, he's going to do a couple lessons here.
Yes, and I will be there for that. Absolutely.
I'm not paying for that shit.
Can I plug the book real quick, Matt?
Yeah, of course you can, man.
So it's only available for digital downloads at Hudson Music. If you contact me directly, we accept for Horst. Horst is in Germany. But if for some reason, Horst, you wanted a physical copy, I'd get it to you somehow. But the physical copies I have now, which I have yet to print up, but I will print up, have 2 new sections in it from the digital one. So there's a 15/16 section and 21/16. But the digital downloads are cool. You get 12 video lessons, and there's like 44 audio samples, and you get all this gobs of beats and all kinds of time signatures. So
Am I correct in that you made a mention that you have a second funk book?
I have a book. It's called the Book of Funk Beats. We like to go
Oh,
biblical. It's a
okay.
right. The Book of Funk Beats. It's a Hal Leonard publication.
I haven't even opened that one up yet. It's going to be interesting.
It's kind of like it's formatted much the same way as this book, which was an inspiration for me as a teenager, the Drummer's Cookbook. So it's formatted similarly. It's basically just reams of beats. It's just tons and tons of beats.
You don't need to buy it, Paul.
You can
I
do,
do. I do. Just let
Anyway,
me,
here's what we're going to do. Hold on. So
you
we'll
can
save a
you
little
can
time.
you can ebook
Dave,
that one.
Dave is going to send me his email. And I'm going to send everybody here his email so you could talk to him. Okay? My email, Dave, for your information, is Matt Patella, 1001 at gmail.com. Just email me and we'll explode on this. Because I really think this is a great road to go and to learn music and understand the mathematics of rhythm. I absolutely do.
Matt Patella 1246 at Gmail, right?
Well, that's one of them, but I have another one, Matt Patella 1001 at gmail.com.
So wait, let me get that one in there.
Hey Dave, what's the name of that video switcher that you bought for your cameras?
It's a Black Magic design. It is. Hold on 1 second. I'll tell you.
Hey, Robert, how much money you want to spend?
$1 million.
It's the ATEM Mini Pro ISO.
I
And
have
if you-
the ATEM television studio, which is the
Right.
same thing.
That's probably a little more advanced. If you get one of those and you need help, call me. I'll help you out with it.
A10 Mini Pro
ATEM Mini Pro
ATEM.
ISO.
ISO.
Yeah. So when I was doing the videos for the book, we got hit by a Hurricane Ida.
Oh yeah.
We got flooded out. I saved everything in my studio. The only thing that I didn't save that I found floating in the water the next morning was my ATEM Mini ISO Pro power source.
Well, everything is fine now, believe me.
It is, but that was it was like finger in the dike. It's like without that I couldn't do anything. And
Yeah.
then I ordered it from B&H Photo, which is wonderful. I love B&H. They're Orthodox Jewish there. I ordered it the night before Sukkot. Sukkot is like a 5-day holiday where they don't do anything. So I was like, anyhow, it was funny. I had to wait 2 weeks in order to get it. But I can help you with the switching.
I just want to say, as a fellow teacher, I have a bunch of my students working out of the Book of Funk, and I highly recommend it.
thank you.
It's an amazing book.
Anyway,
Easy to use. It's great. Yeah.
this
And
is-
again,
this
it's
is really
eighth notes
nice.
in the hi-hat. Eighth notes in the
Oh,
hi-hat. There's
remember-
no.
Hello, remember me?
Yeah, hi Matt.
Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't read. I forgot your name.
My name?
Yes.
Ted.
Ted. That's Ted.
Ted.
Okay.
Ted Ream. Ted
Did you take my email?
I didn't. I don't have a pen here.
All right. Well, anyway.
I'll send it to him. I'll send
All
it
right.
to him.
Take my email, and what I do is every night, and I added another night to the broadcast, Friday night. All right, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now this is
Okay.
free. This is going to be free for a while.
Okay.
Every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have something like this with different subject matters. And if you get on my mailing list, I will send you PDFs.
Okay. You can take my email down too if you want to.
I can't. I don't have nothing to write on. I mean, I'm just like,
Okay,
throwing out.
okay,
But you
okay.
just do that, and I'll put you on my mailing list.
Okay.
And it's good because you know why? We have a total group discussion as well. Nobody's the star, and everybody's learning and contributing. And I think that's really, really, really nice.
I need some help in this. I need some help in this camera issue. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I can
that'll
order.
cost you. You want me to come to? Where do you live?
I
Nebraska.
live in Nebraska.
Where?
Nebraska.
I can come to your house for a fee, not a problem. Anyway, we'll work on that another time. All right. I just want to talk to John publicly here with this lesson. Everybody's here, and I want them to know how I feel. I happen to feel that John Berger, since I've gone on Facebook, has helped me out tremendously. Not only only like socializing. He scolds me, hits me in the head once in a while. Yeah, you shouldn't say that. Oh, you shouldn't do that. But he says it in a nice way. And whenever I have a couple people that I call go-to guys, Alan Herman, okay, Carl Latham, John, and a few other guys. And they're really good friends. They have no ego at all. They're extremely humble. But John Berger, in my opinion, because I've known him for a while now, and because I want to actually hear him play, and he put like something in me that made me give him as an example to all the drummers. Everybody should be like him. No ego. He don't care about fame and fortune. All he cares about is gigging and making the music right. And John, got to hand it to you. And another shout out to David. David, I sincerely appreciate your help here.
Thank you, Matt.
You really did a nice job today. You really did.
Thank you.
But the next one we'll do as soon as you can, and John, as soon as you can as well. Okay? And maybe we'll have like a crazy guest like Mike Clark.
Oh, that'd be great, man.
Right? Yeah, well, Mike Clark with you guys. Give him a bunch of shit.
That would be great. I love Mike Clark.
Mike Clark is a phenomenal drummer.
Oh.
And you know
Well,
what? And anyway, Carl Latham, I didn't particularly, zone in on him in the beginning. But Carl Latham, just recently I've been listening to his CDs. I mean, that guy kicks ass. He's a great drummer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to help him, not musically, but socially, like you did to me, John. The guy's a nervous wreck. Calm down.
Yeah.
The guy's a beautiful drummer, man. He really is. Like most of you guys who are in the public light, like you there, Paul, in the girls' gym playing your drums because they all love drumming.
Hey, David. David.
Laughing. All right. Anyway, we're gonna one more thing. Hey, John, I got a comment in the drummers' Art of Drumming group.
Yes.
Listen to this. You ready? I'm still laughing. This guy he's a professor at Berklee College of Music. That's respectful, man. But I don't know, man. Most of the guys that I know that worked up there are like part-time shoe salesmen or selling used cars. He states he would appreciate if I did not use the name Art of Drumming. That's the title of his book. If I persist, he's going to go forward and sue me. You know what I said? Go for it.
Okay. Well,
There's no
good.
grounds. It's not. It's not.
Of course there isn't.
Yeah.
That's the
Well-
level. You know what? You would respect the guy who's in a position as a professor at a very well-known college, and he makes a statement like that. What does that tell you about him?
Well, a very wise man once said, "Good luck with all that."
The art
what I
of
say?
anything.
We're gonna have. He said he's gonna have the the copyright police come knocking on my door. So I said fine, and I said in less than a half hour I'll have them raking leaves off my lawn and cutting my lawn. It's not a problem.
Also, Matt.
How the
does
hell
your-
could? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Does the Art of Drumming, this website, does it predate when he wrote that book?
Yeah, 12 hours ago. Well, I don't care what it does with his book. He don't own the title.
No.
That's the title of his book. He don't own the title of a group. That's number one. That's the same thing that I told you about the paradiddle tree. I had to take a video down and then redo it because I had to show him that it was WFL Senior who created it. Right. I mean, people are, the level of ignorance on Facebook is totally off the wall. I don't really comment.
It's like all these people talk. It's like
I look at it this way, jump up, man, if you want to fight. Or shut the fuck up. I shouldn't have said that. That's on video. Oh, man. Oh, well, guys, I'm sure you guys heard that before. If there's any complaints, I do sincerely apologize if little kids are listening to it because it's not for little kids. But anyway, I got to sign out.
Well, nice meeting you, sir.
Okay. Anyway, listen, Paul, I made another lesson for Fridays, man. Monday through Friday. You're going to make one of them once in a while. I know that you're busy.
I'll make it every time.
When,
Who's
I
that?
am trying my best, Matt.
Yeah, well, do the best that you can,
Yeah.
because it's like it's a good thing because we're all at different levels, without a doubt. And when I do a presentation of a subject, and you're not here, well, that's a good thing that I have to repeat it again because now the guys that were here, that reinforces it. That's a good thing. I used to get pissed off at you, Paul. Now I say, hey, he's got to, you know, whatever. Paul, you're a great guy, man.
This is a busy year for me.
Robert, we're going to hear him on his drums. Show everybody your drums. Turn your camera a little bit.
Beautiful.
Not you, the camera. See what I mean?
What kind of drums are those, Bob?
These are Ludwig's here.
Nice.
I got another set of Ludwig's over there.
Beautiful.
Where's your DWs? In your bathroom?
Oh, they're upstairs.
Is that your basement of your house, Bob? or is
Yeah,
that a
it's the
studio?
basement, yeah.
Wow, you got some
He
space.
just got an addition that added to his house. It looks really nice.
It looks amazing, man.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks.
Since he's been here, I don't know how long he's been here, but we never heard him play on a set of drums.
Yeah,
Not
it's
bad.
time.
Now he's got himself in a bad spot.
Just got to get a couple of cameras set up, so
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. I'll tell you which one. How much you want to spend?
just a couple $100.
Oh, I'll tell you what. You can get the postage for that.
I got them 4K cameras.
I don't know. Whatever you got. If it works, that's great.
I don't know. Dave was talking about you got GoPros, Dave.
Yeah, I got GoPros. I got 4.
How much do
GoPros.
those cost?
About 300 a piece.
Yeah.
300 a piece, something like that.
No, that ATEM switcher that costs about a couple $100. Is
No.
that-
About
It depends on what you're going to get.
I think it's
It costs you $1,000 and up.
Yeah, something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
$1,000. Wow.
But you don't need that.
Yeah.
Well,
You
there's
don't need
also
that-
smaller ones. There's also, I think there's a 2-channel switcher. So there's options. There's definitely.
What we're going to do, Bob, is this. Before the lesson tomorrow, I'll explain to you what I think you should get. You make a decision.
Okay.
Because you're going to need something to actually house the camera, your computer, but there's an adapter, and plus you got to get a bigger mic, and then
Yeah.
you're in business. You don't need the switcher. As long as I could see you playing the drums. You want to invest in a switcher, you want to...
One
Yeah.
camera. You only
One
need
camera,
one
that's
camera for lessons or something. I mean, I have 4 because I'm making videos. I need a foot
Oh,
cam.
yeah.
I need an overhead cam, but you could just do it with one for sure.
Yeah.
He's just demonstrating a lesson, that's all. If you're going to do this full time, I got like 4 cameras too. Like I said, I don't use my overhead only because, don't show off, only because I don't want to see the ball head on my head. Anyway,
wanna see
listen, I
that
got to
either.
go.
That kind
Dave, a shout out to David.
Thanks, Dave.
One hell of
Thanks, Dave.
Guys, for being here, I'm honored.
Thank you,
that
Dave.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
honored you took the time to come.
And Seth, stop being a stranger, bro.
Yeah, no kidding. I will. I will. I'm getting back into it.
Was your time in jail making you understand that you had a...
I did a lot of repenting.
All right, listen, where'd you go?
I think he's off.
Who went?
Yeah.
David?
Dave,
Oh no, it's my camera. It's my camera.
All right, anyway, John,
I'm here,
John
I'm
and
here.
Dave, can you stay before
Yes,
when the lesson's
yes.
over?
I can stay.
All right, I just
Nice.
want to talk.